Good evening. Good God. Good gracious, and all the rest of it. Hello, welcome to PSN with me, who is going to attempt to destroy the show over the next 2 hours. We've got to go through all the usual, so, please click like and subscribe and pay us money. Thank you. Now, we need... Don't start.
Slick start there.
I know. So, right, I'm going to fire these guys up. Come on, where are... Which one was it? No. Yes. There you go.
Yes.
Hello, guys.
Oh God.
Hiya.
How you doing?
I just all I want to do is just from the very outset just to apologise to Ben, apologise to Robbie, apologise for the next 2 hours. Actually, I'm not here for the next 2 hours. Can we just get this in?
Yeah, it's that bad.
Yeah, no. I can do an hour whilst eating my dinner, and I'm not joking. I do have my dinner here to eat whilst I'm doing it, but I can do an hour, and then I've got to go. But I'm here for.
Sorry. Did that? Sorry. Terrible.
I'm here for now. So yes, good.
Man.
Hello everyone.
Greetings, one and all, in our special Superbooth edition, which contains almost no Superbooth whatsoever.
Oh, when you say special,
Yeah,
special in a whole new way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now we got lots of stuff to go through, have we not, Mr. Longhurst?
We have got a plethora, a many-layered, multitudinous feast of synthosity for you.
Brilliant. We like all that.
And stuff. And I believe, Robbie may be watching, as may Ian. Did you have that thing lined up at the very top?
I do.
Let's just try that, because Robbie's now staying. He posted that he was in Berlin, staying at the Hotel Catalonia.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is that the one where you can never leave?
That's the one. Yeah. We did have some music to go with that, but that obviously got missed along the way.
Oh, God.
So we'll imagine it happened.
We imagine that happened.
It happened. But it's been an interesting week in Synth World.
Yes.
I know that the boys are out there, and the girls are out there, and all other persuasions and genders are out there, looking at a whole bunch of stuff. They've sent through some lovely pickies of various goodies, and should we just jump straight in with something that's looking and sounding rather splendid? Udo have released the Super Gemini.
Yes.
And it's a 20-voice polyphonic, 20 voices of polyphony by Timbrel. It's a hybrid synth with their own custom ribbon controller and Poly AT. Now, that's something which everyone's talking about. So it sounds good. Would you like young Kenty Plops to bring up the video for the Udo Super Gemini thing?
I would, but I thought we were starting with something different. So
right.
Let me just go and alter that.
Okay.
And so it begins.
Because he said to me, he goes, now start with the Oberheim. All right. And so he brought that out instead.
Oh, well, there we go.
Hang on. Here we go. Ready? This is going to be huge, apparently. Right. Okay.
What, the cock up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. But where is it? I asked you.
Yeah, this was the black edition.
This is the very black edition.
Yeah, so what happens is, most companies bring out the normal edition, and then about 2 years down the line bring out the black edition. What Udo are doing is bringing out the black edition.
So this is the noir version, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
okay.
with noir controllers, noir background.
Okay.
And apparently it's the future of sound.
George.
Hi, Nick. Hello.
Another spring, another Berlin show, another synthesizer.
Another synthesizer, another year, another show. It's actually really gorgeous here. I don't know if you can actually see.
Nothing like a
back in
weather
our
forecast
bungalow,
Superbooth.
our rather charming little place. We try our best to make our sort of carefully
You
engineered
may want to
products look
skip
all
through
right
a
in the
little.
kind of German Butlins that sort of probably hasn't seen a lick of paint since the 80s, but it's kind of charming.
I think this
It's kind of
yellow's new,
all right.
actually. But
Oh,
anyway,
really?
it's lovely to see you because the Gemini, the Gemini, Super Gemini is here. Announced
Yes.
yesterday.
Yes.
Bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Was it a close run thing? Did you make it on time?
Well, I mean, obviously, if there weren't shows like this, then nobody would ever finish anything, would they? But yeah, obviously, we've been very busy. We've been very busy with the Super Sixes, actually, as well here. We've been working on a big update for them, which has also been keeping us busy. We've got a couple of new colorways here to basically sort of celebrate growing the family. So really, the Super Gemini is a kind of continuation and a growth of what we've been doing. It's a really nice analog hybrid polysynthesizer. This time it's got a few more things on it really that, you know, are those extra level pro features, like a really nice quality polyphonic aftertouch keyboard. Obviously it's got multi-timbrality this time, and it's got independent controls for the layers. Which, when you actually play and use this thing, you realize that it really makes a wonderful playing experience. Because, of course, you can go on this sound exploration, you can arpeggiate one layer and have the other layer.
I mean,
doing
it's very
chords,
unusual
you
to see both layers represented kind of discreetly like that, actually.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
well, the CS80, of course, did it.
Yeah.
I was sort of, on that instrument, it was more like each oscillator had its own kind of channel. We've gone for a little bit more like almost a discrete instrument on each channel. But yeah, it's so that you can really have a true manual mode. You know, you can hit manual and everything can pick up what it is, where it is rather, and you essentially have your sort of two instruments, but everything's right there. So when you kind of play and you're in that sound creation space and you're enjoying it, it's really good because you don't have to flip between layers and then lose where you were and the knobs, etc. Everything's very visual, and of course you've got the slide controller.
Okay.
Sort of,
Are we done?
Pitch
Are we
expression.
done? Shall we
think we're done.
skip to some sounds, Kent? Do you think?
Yeah, let's see if we can find
really?
some.
Everybody online is going, just play something, just play something, just play something. So I suppose we should hear
Yeah,
something.
I know. I actually haven't been talking to many people, you see. I've been coding hard for both these and this for many months, so now I get my opportunity to talk. It all comes out in one go, but yeah, of course I'll
Let's get there.
Well done.
I have to say the same quality is a bit pants, so it's not really. Shall we talk about it?
I think we should talk about
I
it.
think we
So,
should talk about it.
Young Kenty Boost.
Yeah. As soon as I can find out where how to stop the bloody thing. There we go. Yeah.
Just have to
Absolutely.
get us back in the studio.
Indeed.
There we are. There we go. So, young Ty.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
that was a very. You better have a bloody good question, otherwise I'm not going to answer.
No. I'll answer it with yes.
Yes.
That's the answer. So the moment I saw this, I messaged George and said, "Put my name on one," because I've got a Super 6, and the Super 6 is rather lovely and rather special. And this is essentially two of them in a box with more bells and whistles, some ring mod and the touch strip and the keyboard and.
It's got
So
poly
it's-
after. Does
It has poly aftertouch. No, the Udo only has normal channel aftertouch.
Right.
So, so literally, I just and genuinely, I didn't at that stage even know how much it was. But this synth is if this is Big Brother of Super 6, and Super 6 is It is fantastic. So
the Super 6 is what? It's 12 voices.
yes. Although the moment you put it into interesting mode, which is essentially the binaural mode, it's 6-note poly. So basically, whatever the polyphony is claimed, just halve it straight away, because that's if you want the really interesting sounds, if you want the really interesting stuff, it really works in the binaural mode. So outside of the binaural mode, it's great, but I'm not saying it's basic, but it's the interesting stuff happens when you start halving the polyphony.
And is it actually binaural or is it stereo?
No, it's glorified stereo, but it's not binaural as in you and I know binaural. But I can understand why George did it, because I don't really think there's a term for what it does do, really. But it's very, very glorified stereo with a kind of binaural tinge to it, but it's not. I mean, I remember getting very excited when I very first saw the things for the Super 6, thinking it was actually going to be a very genuine binaural instrument, and it's not what we would describe as genuine binaural, but it's it's got a hint of it, and it's very clever the way it works.
So being a user of ambisonic mics for many years, and or binaural mics, it's not quite that. That said, though, so we're talking about this being a 10 voice, so it'll actually be 10 usable.
Well, no. I mean, don't get me wrong. For a lot of sounds, it will be 20-note polyphony. For a lot of more, I don't want to say basic, because traditional. That's what I'm going to say. For more traditional synth, it will be 20-note polyphony, but the special quality that the Udo 6 has kicks in when you put it into binaural mode. That's what makes it stand out from the crowd.
And Kent, what about you? Have you got any thoughts about this, or you selling Fiona again?
I don't know whether I can sell her again. Warranty's run out. I think I'm loving the sound of it, but as Ty was alluding to, where the polyphony gets a bit slated and going, but yeah, it's very, very nice. There's a lot. There seems to be a lot of similarities between its surface functions.
Can I just point out, nobody at any stage has ever turned around and gone, do you know what, Jupiter 8, it's the polyphony that just lets it down. No one's ever said that. No one will ever say about this, oh, it's only
No, I
agree.
Polyphony. I'm talking about from where I'm sitting.
Okay.
Yeah, but that Jupiter 8 does need extra voices, doesn't it? Don't you think? We can all agree on that, can't we? So listen, the Super 6, a Super 6 is what you can get that for around 2,399 in the UK at the moment. Mm-hmm. What do we think this is going to come in at? 3.5, 3?
Apparently, I think it's someone. I read somewhere that DV have already got it on for 3.5 or 3,510 or something. So about 3.5.
That's becoming quite a crowded market with a lot of new, that kind of price range. There's a lot suddenly appearing in there that there's only so many people with 3.5K to throw at it. So it's an interesting one, and I think it's one of those ones that will either make an impact or will be there as an object of desire for an awful lot of people.
No, I think it will. I think it will make an impact, because the Super 6 has done incredibly well, but there was lots of things that people wanted from the Super 6 that it didn't have. I have to say, the one thing it still doesn't have is, I'm not saying it should have a scream, but there are certain times when it may be different with this, because basically they try to from the outset make it so it's basically one button, one knob per function, and then as other things got added, there was there's a couple of shift things, but as other things have been added to the Super 6, the shifts and the button combinations have become a bit more of a pain in the bum with no screen at all. And so what I would have loved to have had was not to have some big flashy screen, but just something to assist,
to tell you
where you're going. But what I'm hoping is that some of the shift functions and some of the things that came after the initial, they will be incorporated in extra buttons and knobs, which George is a canny guy, and I'm sure that he'll have thought that through. But do you miss a screen on it? Rarely, but occasionally you do. Occasionally you do, but it is literally occasionally. It's not all the time at all. So
it's how well it plays and how quickly you can get from here down through to here and out.
The thing is, when he made the comparison to a CS80, it's exactly the same way that once you get your head around the way a CS80 is laid out, you don't need a screen. You have no urge for a screen there. No. And it's the same with the Jupiter 8, as well as Polyphony. I've never played on the Jupiter 8 and just gone, oh, I wish this had a screen to name my patches.
Yeah, but don't you wish it had 2 more voices? Just 2 more.
Oh, for God's sake. Let it go. Let it go.
Don't you wish it had 2 more voices? So, talking of which I can now bring us back to where we were going to go originally, Kent, so you can be ready. So right. in the same kind of price range, also launching at the show, is the desktop version of the Obi X8. Smaller form factor, lighter, no poly aftertouch. As far as I can see, there's no MPE implementation for it either, which is a shame, because that's one synth that would be it would be a very good thing to have. But I believe it's going to be launching. I think I've seen it on GAC at 3399 for the desktop. So that's launching. Do we have a video? Or do we have any sort of info on it?
We do have this.
There you go. It's
let's have a look and see.
It sits on a desk.
Keep
going down.
Yeah,
keep scrolling down, and I think we might find the.
Ooh.
Oh, the little wobbler.
Oh, sitting on top of a complete Control 61, no less. There you go.
Yeah.
Just about enough room for that to sit on.
So is this a good thing, having an Oberheim desktop? And I would guess the answer is going to be probably somewhere around.
Yeah.
For those of you that like the Oberheims, it's going to be a wonderful thing because it's a smaller form factor. You don't have to have the keyboard and the weight and everything else. So it's probably a delightful thing. But there are some that although they get the Oberheim sound, it doesn't really fit with their sound palette. So what do we think of this as a device, young Kent?
Well, I think this was sort of like the obvious next progression, to be honest.
And would you give it house room?
I'm not a massive Oberheim user, to be honest, because I spend so much time repairing the bloody things. I'm not interested. Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of those things, where it's not for me. It's not that there's anything wrong or bad about it or anything like that. It's just that it's not really a sound I get into very often.
And given that it's the same kind of price as the 20 voice Super Gemini, which seems to offer it's going down a different path. We know the Oberheim sound. We know what we're going to expect from that. The Gemini just looks like it's a different bag of super duper wonderful tricks. What do you think, Ty?
The only problem I have is that there's something that's really desirable about the keyboard, and I've got the keyboard, and it is beautiful. And unlike Kent, I do like the Obi sound, and it's a beautiful thing to behold. It's one of those things that you sit in front of it, and it feels proper quality. It feels beautiful, and you yearn to own it. I think the problem is with some of when they turn them into modules is you lose that sense of
immediacy.
It's not even immediacy; it's wanting. You buy a module because you want. You buy a module because essentially you want the keyboard, but for whatever reason, whether it be space or you've got too many keyboards, that's the only reason you buy a module. Because you don't buy. What else would you buy the module for?
It's a bit like buying a Ferrari without the wheels.
Kind of. It's just. Yeah. You want it, and I understand because it provides the sounds you want, and I get all of that. But for me, there's a whole level of desirability that disappears the moment you turn it into a module, and that's what. And I'm saying the same for all of the sequential stuff. Because the keyboards themselves, like the Prophet 5 and the Prophet 10 and the
10,
and so again, I've got a Prophet 10, but when the module of it is just, he's got no desirability. You'd buy that if you didn't have the space, You just wanted those sounds. But I don't think anyone's ever going to walk into a studio and go, oh my God, look, it's a Prophet 10 module. It's just another module. Whereas, do you know what I mean? I could be completely wrong. That's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong here, but
Ken,
yeah.
you're about to...
No, I can get where Ty's coming from with that. Because there is that desirability for the whole rather than, just part of it. But I must admit, I mean, when you go back to things like the expander, I mean, the amount of people that wanted the expander over having, like the Matrix 12 and stuff like that, it was just mental. People just went mad for that.
Well, I think part of it is also I remember back in the day. Do you remember in the mid '80s when MIDI came out, and it was the thing to literally have one or two master keyboards, and then everything else was module. And so I did that for a good 15 years, where I had a Roland A80, and I had what was the smaller one, the 76, was it 76?
There was the 76. You had the 76 as well, yeah.
So I had the plastic keyboard, I had the the normal synth action, and I had the weighted action, and that was it. They were my two keyboards, and everything else I just bought in module form. And it was nice, but I kind of look back on that time, and again, there was none of the desirability of it. And it's great because it meant I had loads of synths in not a lot of space. But there was nothing there that that I grew attached to.
There is something to be said for, I mean, particularly with the Oberheim. I have to say I'm an enormous fan of Oberheim because I kind of grew up with them. And there is something about, you can tell the person that designed it and built it had their hand a lot on the left-hand side where the controllers are. And the way it all maps out and you play with it and swap between different parts of the controls makes it a playing experience, the whole thing a playing experience. And I think depending on who you are, the idea of having that in a module, you do lose that. You can use another keyboard, but it's not the originally designed intent of how the thing should work. So you start to, I mean, you get the same sounds, you get the same whatever, but it's not the same level of desirability.
It's just not the same. And that isn't in any way putting it down at all. But it's a different experience. And I still have the same now, things that are the module versions of things, because I've got some things that I have the module version and the keyboard version of. And when you play on the keyboard, it's a different way of interacting. It's a different way of experiencing it. It's just different. Doesn't make it any better. It's just different. And sometimes, that's it really. I mean, there's not so there's no conclusion to that. It's just different. ...
It is different. ... And doubtless there will be discussions about whether or not once you go to a module, at that point, do you just then rely on the plugins? Because if it's a desktop, it's going to be sitting on your desktop. Are you going to take it out and gig it live and blah blah blah? Yeah. So let's wait and see. But I'm interested to see how it's received. I'm surprised it's still as expensive as it is. I would have expected it to drop below the 3 for the desktop version. But
can I be really awful?
Yeah, do.
I think it's because they can. I honestly do, because I think it's as simple as that, because I can't really see a reason. I can see why the keyboard is as much as it is, but I'm struggling to see why that shouldn't be just below 3, really.
Yeah. But then that's about, saying you're buying this quality, you're buying this brand, this is what we do, this is you're paying our history and everything else.
But I understand that. I know, but...
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's an interesting one. That was an interesting one. Yeah. So, what else do we have creeping up along the news path, as it were? Shifting just for a moment slightly away from synthesizers. There's been a lot of talk this week about Apple announcing a subscription model for iPad so that people can use Logic and Final Cut Pro. I mean, let's just focus on the Logic for now. I mean, we've got a video of what it does and sort of how it works. Have you got any way of running that, young Kenty Plops, Rena?
Yes, I think we actually have, would you believe?
Oh, that's
Whether I can make that work is a completely different kind of
another
issue.
question. We'll do an impression.
Yes, I will do an impression of it.
So,
Oh wow. This is insane.
Okay. Whoa. Seeing it on here is crazy.
Having the ability to be able to make anything wherever we are, and especially us, is the best thing for our workflow.
This is like crazy fun to use.
You want to try sample alchemy?
So you could go here, guitar strips, like a real guitar. But having it in Logic completely changes the things you can do with it. This is so easy to use.
I'm sorry, this is so cool. I threw a beat breaker on here and put it in halftime. Oh yeah. This is actually allowing you to draw stuff in. I mean, it's crazy.
Whenever I'm on the plane, it's something I can just whip right out and then work. It's very appealing. What I was able to do is isolate the subject, which is the falling pineapples, and added colorful backgrounds. And then I just drew
a couple of words. It's really cool because it automatically animates.
so I didn't have to put in hours of work to do it.
You can film it.
What's happening here?
oh my lord!
Hello. Hello. Look. Oh.
Michelle.
I can't do a wide angle. I have to do this. There we go. How are we all?
We're good.
We're good.
We started
Hello.
on
Hi.
time.
I'll unmute myself, shall I?
What? Sorry.
I said I'll unmute myself now, shall I? I just threw insults at you and they were completely wasted.
Oh, take a drink.
Go
How you
then,
getting on,
carry
guys? How you getting on?
Great. We just ordered dinner.
Excellent. So have I. I'm so professional. I'm sat here with pizza.
Honestly, destroying the show.
Oh, it was destroyed before I came on, believe me.
Yeah, as soon as you handed it over to me.
I have
Yeah.
a question for you, Ty.
Go for it.
Have you already ordered the new Teenage Engineering recorder?
No. I have not. No.
Will you?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's all
I
good off here.
I just don't. Yeah, it's of no use to me. The mixer is useful. That's not any use to me. So,
Okay.
why have
Sorry,
you
we've
ordered
got
one?
Street dancers. Hang on, let me flip the camera. Can I do that here? No, I can't. There you go.
Excellent. I thought it was Ben doing a little turn.
I'm going to join in a minute.
That's what I just said. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
I didn't realise Ben sent his son along.
Yeah, what's happened to you, Ben?
Hang on.
Ben, have you lost all the weight that I've gained? Have you just given me your weight?
Oh no, yeah. I've been keeping fit, you know, walking around Berlin. I was fat when I got here.
Oh, brilliant.
He's the star of the show.
Yeah,
Hi, everybody.
the only
How
one that's
are
worth
you?
talking to.
Hello, sweetheart.
Not hear a thing.
Can't hear a thing at the moment.
Oh, good. We can say what we want.
Typical, isn't it?
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm great. Good Superbooth.
Tell us your
Hanging
best
out with you
joke.
fine gentlemen. Missing all of you.
Oh,
There you
Ty,
go.
stop it.
Oh, what? Sorry, no. It's Jimbo.
Hello.
Jimbo!
How you doing, Jim?
Very
All
good.
right.
It's been fantastic. Absolutely loved it here. Brilliant.
Apart from the moment when Jim almost got us shot
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky to be alive actually because I did something really stupid on the plane and got my DIY electro sluice, and then I thought, this homemade black box with an on-off switch. not the sort of thing to get out on the plane.
No.
Oh, brilliant.
I've never spent the rest of the flight shitting myself thinking, right, that's it, armed police are going to storm when we land. Bullet in the head.
Brilliant.
So, every day's a blessing.
Wow.
Brilliant.
Hello. Oh, beer's just turned up.
Yeah, don't let him go to the toilet when he's on the plane back. He might open the wrong one.
I can't, honestly, it's so loud here now. But we thought we'd just pop in. Funny moment on the S-Bahn coming up to the restaurant. A couple of guys started talking to us, and one of them said, with Michelle stood right next to me, "Oh, I'm really enjoying reading that audio book about Bob Moog." And
Really?
unfortunately, Michelle didn't realise this because it would just been a great moment for her to turn around and go, "Hello."
Yeah. Bloody hell.
Wow.
Anyway, look, it's noisy and we're probably ruining what is a great show. So thank you, gentlemen, for stepping
That'd be
in.
hard pushed.
This is the best show you've ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Jim, you're looking more gorgeous than ever.
Oh, now they've stopped. Hang on, we might get some peace and quiet.
Okay.
And then again, we might not. I don't know. So just random street dancers, just with a.
Oh.
Can I change my? I can't change my camera, can I?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Camera. No, front camera, rear camera.
Oh, there you go.
Yay!
Hurrah! Technology works.
You'd like to think so. So yeah, that's what we just had to put up with.
No.
People walking past you.
Hang on a sec. They want paying for that. Hang on. Bear with.
Wow.
Tell you what, you can have all
Talk
my-
about quality.
Yeah.
The cost of living crisis brought to you by
Seriously.
Yeah. We need Andy's carpet cams so bad.
Yeah, we do. We need carpet cam.
We've got desk cam instead. We've got table cam instead.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at the quality of that wood, lad.
Okay.
Eh?
So I
Lovely.
literally just got rid of all my Euro shrapnel, which I can't use back in the UK, of course. So,
Yeah, you can throw it at people.
so I just threw it at the noisy dancers.
Yeah.
Well, Robbie, you're looking so gorgeous today that I think I may have fallen pregnant just seeing you.
Again?
I mean, look.
Have you still got it on the back camera?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
So
dear.
apologise to Andy. We didn't get any carpet cams.
No, I did.
you,
I've got some recorded. I've got some carpet for, well, it's mainly flooring actually, a bit of tiling and a bit of red carpet. But
There
that's
you go.
about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow, is this what it's come to?
Yeah.
if only
by the way, everybody needs to buy an Udo Super Gemini.
Definitely.
I've
is.
already. I just
Of
said
course you
earlier.
can.
I'm sorry,
you
okay, I'll
can.
shut up then. I'll shut up.
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Okay.
Of course
Yeah.
you can.
Do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Michelle just said, "Is that tight?"
25% of this conversation has ordered one.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Well, we were very surprised at the price. In there, it's not as much as we thought it would be because for
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
is, it's incredible.
Yeah.
What is it? How much?
Absolutely incredible.
How
As
much,
was-
Robbie?
3.5,
3.6.
3.6. Yeah.
Okay. How much are they paying Kurzweil for the ribbon strip?
Oh, it does look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's identical.
Yeah.
But-
Kurzweil ribbon strip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ken, the ribbon strip on the CS80 is that normally felt?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel it all the time.
Come on!
But hey,
Good,
oh, yeah, it's what they, what was it called? It has a name. It's not felt and it is
Yeah.
felt.
Furry.
Yeah, it's
I
furry
didn't realise
cloth.
it was that furry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
needs trimming.
We wondered if you'd had a hand. What was the name of the company that was doing? It's a company in Germany that hire out synths. But yeah, something Berlin Studios.
Mm,
Yeah, Studio Berlin. Was that one of yours?
possibly.
Possibly.
Possibly. Does it smell sweet?
Yeah, it did. It was in very good condition, so we weren't sure.
Oh, in
So
that case, yes.
We're a little disappointed, Robert.
Absolutely.
What else did we see that was really good? GR Mega.
Oh, right.
Was it? No. Tasty Chips, GR Mega. Was pretty mega.
Mm-hmm.
Way more powerful than the GR1, which is very good. Got the first try on an Osmos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in love.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird action, though, isn't it, at first?
But it's not as weird as you might think.
Yeah.
Somebody that can't really play, for somebody who's not Thai on win, I was making it sound quite nice.
Can you play Thai? I didn't know that.
Rubbing my fingers all over it. Another one to look out for, the Norand Mono Mark II, which looks like a 303 clone, but is way much more. And it's got an incredible silicon keyboard that is not only pressure and velocity sensitive, but also you can rub your fingers along it to get cross modulation and pitch bend and stuff. Working, very nice. Hydrosynth, I got my first play of a proper Hydrosynth. It's all right. But I did get to play with the FS1R controller, so they're only on.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. And it's more confusing than the FS1R. And they also had 2 DX7s on the Yamaha stand.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So I was in my happy place.
Oh, bless.
And then there was this crazy lady selling books in the corner.
And you just can't get rid of her. Yeah.
No,
Buy a book. Buy a book.
What are these people doing at a synthesizer convention? I know,
right?
Wow, you wouldn't think, would you?
That wasn't the only crazy person selling books, though.
No.
It was Dr. Mike Metley.
Oh, we met Dr. Mike Metley.
Oh, wow.
In the flesh.
Hey.
It's an experience I think everyone should have.
Isn't he a proctologist?
Well, he had his finger up somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
If only you'd have met someone super uber famous that was somehow related to the very start of the whole synthesis industry.
We scour the places to find these people, and we just can't find them anywhere.
All you find is that woman with her fucking book. Oh, sorry, books. Sorry. I'd done so well. I'd managed 40 minutes and hadn't sworn. I'm so sorry.
No.
Yeah.
Andrew, that's 50 quid you owe me.
The Superbooth last night.
Bo Beats and Job and Midlife Synthesis and Starsky Car.
Yeah. Jamie Morden.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Mark Barnes and his lovely wife Cheryl.
So basically, all the good people are there.
Yeah, it was basically like UK show in Germany. They were great. Yeah.
So you travelled all that way and nothing changed.
I know, exactly. It's a home from home.
Excellent.
Apparently, if you are going to be at Superbooth tomorrow, all of the super tubers are meeting outside the circus tent, which is where you normally find a big bunch of clowns. So if you want to meet Bo Beats or shake Jorb by his Jorb or whatever it is that he has, 1:30 outside the circus tent.
Wow.
We won't be there. Oh yeah, Cuckoo was there. Cuckoo skateboarded. Did you see him? He skateboarded just right past us. It was like, ooh, Cuckoo. Anyway, must go.
Yeah, enjoy your. Have you got? What have you got?
I've got paella.
Okay.
No, there was no schnitzel.
Of course, anyway, where else would you go but to Berlin?
You go to Germany to get paella.
My paella, yeah. Thank you very much. Look at this guy.
What's Michelle having? Bagels?
Michelle, what are you having? Pasta with salmon. She's having pasta with salmon. Pasta, not pasta. Pasta.
Pasta.
With herbs.
And you go to it like that. Yeah.
Anyway, have a lovely rest of the show.
Enjoy. Have a great time.
Who are you?
You should be able to see the smoke from there.
Who are you?
Bye.
Bye.
if I
Have you seen? And other
How do I come
languagey
out of
words.
this show?
Yep.
No, I'm worried
You could have 2 hours of someone shutting down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to do. Ken, can you just kick me out?
This is
If I-
like
Fuck off.
If I end.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Oh.
Okay. Au revoir.
oh my god, it's like watching that old relative try and turn their phone off.
Ah, dear.
It's here somewhere. Where's the button?
Not only
Reminds
do you
me-
smell of stale biscuits, you can't turn your phone off.
I must ask Robbie to do something about his nose hair for next time.
Oh,
Plait
Bless
it,
him.
I'd have said plait it.
bless his socks.
So,
Well, they look like they're having a great time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
were they somewhere we should know about?
Berlin.
Are they going to watch a football match there or something? I don't know. Anyway, so
There's something going on.
there's something going on.
PWM.
Same with you with knobs on.
PWM. What's that synth?
AWM.
PWM.
Oh, PWM.
Their synth, their mono synth, the last synth that was essentially Chris Huggett. Is it Chris Huggett? It is Chris Huggett.
Yeah, Chris Huggett at
Had a major role in. Have you not? Oh, sorry. Am I saying here's something here that you've no preparation for whatsoever?
I don't have any preparation, but it's always good to talk about these things. So Chris Huggett.
Well, basically, so you know what was that little synth that PWM came out with last year? Oh gosh, what was it called? You know, the little mini one.
Jennifer.
No, it wasn't Jennifer.
PWN synth. Here we go. We're going to look it up and look like
It was called
the Malevolent.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And I just, I have to be honest and just say it didn't really do a lot for me. But he's come back at the show. They've got a new synth, which
Mantis.
That's the one, and it's to all intents and purposes, it's supposedly kind of the modern take on a Wasp. Although it's kind of a modern take on a Wasp, but kind of crossed with a modern Oscar at the same time. So, digital oscillators, lots of analog goodness in dual filters, duophonic, arpeggiator. I mean, if you actually look at the spec, it doesn't actually look like it does anything that hasn't been done 1,000,001 times before. I'm being brutal here, but it looks like a beautiful synth that you know that if Chris has had a hand in it, it's going to be good. And it sounds great in a kind of waspy, Oscarish kind of synth. It sounds really nice, and I think it's going to be 1300-ish, something like this, which I don't think is that bad.
Did you say
really.
it's duophonic?
I think it's duophonic. Am I complete?
Yes, it is.
I thought it was, but
yeah. So it looks like it's building on what he was doing at Novation. Is that right?
it is. I mean, it's in. There's lots of bits of it that you kind of look at. There's a lot of Summit. It's bits of it are quite Summit-esque, if that makes sense.
And Supernova-esque.
Yeah, but it's. But it was basically essentially, if you look at the backstory to it, it's the last thing that he did before he was still working on it. Apparently, a couple of weeks before he died. So it's the last thing he had a hand in. And according to the guy who owns the company, it kind of looks like it wasn't just that he had a hand in it. This was definitely his baby. And so I think, honestly, from a historic point of view, I think there's all the more reason for everyone to get behind it and just show some support, because half of the proceeds, half of the profits from it are going to Chris's family.
Oh, wow.
Which is, so it's not just, from a story point of view, I think it's fantastic, because they'd agreed that the way it was going to go when he was alive and well, that all the profits were just going to go 50-50. And now that he's passed, although someone else has stepped on board, they were saying that they're still going to give 50% of the profits to Chrissy's family, which is amazing and fantastic, and the way we all wish the world would be in general. So absolutely fantastic. So, and it sounds great. And I don't have a wasp. I do have an Oscar, but I don't have a wasp. And if this is a kind of modern incarnation of it, that's a good enough reason to jump on board.
I love the Oscars personally. I had one years and years back. I don't know what happened to it. Did you nick it?
That could have been it. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's a lovely thing. That's a lovely thing.
And the other thing that really hit me was, what's this? Oh my God! Honestly, old age is kicking in. It's that combined with the fact that this was obviously last minute for me to come on. That's why I'm sitting here eating my pizza. There was the granular thing that looked really interesting. Not the GR1 thing that Robbie was talking about.
No, you're talking about. Are you talking about the Micro Freak Stella? That's granular, or are you talking about? No, you're not talking about the AJH Minimog keys.
No. I tell you what. No, you carry on talking about all the things that you've seen that are interesting, and I'll come in a minute with the thing that I found. So you go for it. You carry on.
So slick as ever, slick as weasel poo.
Yeah.
I'm just going to return to the Apple stuff we were talking about because it's an interesting offering. So Apple have now made Logic available for iPad on a subscription. Now, generally speaking, most people, when subscription stuff happens, lose their toys and throw them out and get very, very upset about it. But Apple have that unique ecosystem. And the idea of Logic working on an iPad, and it's doing different things to how it works on the Mac proper. I think it's going to be doing some really, really quite amazing things. I think $4.99 a month. It's a price to play, right? But as a control surface, and the fact that you can take it just about anywhere, it's a bit of a game changer. What do you think?
Yeah. There you go.
Well, we covered that then. We covered that off.
Yeah.
Could you say any more without a mouthful of pizza?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
In 1 second. I mean, by its very nature, people know my views on subscription. Work of the devil, hate it.
Got a mobile phone, but still hate it.
Yeah. Oh, you see, I hate it when people do this. Okay, I'm a hypocrite. Don't care. Anyway, so I hate subscription. It's a bit difficult for me. I hate Logic at the best of times. So the idea of I hate Logic on a computer. So the idea of Logic on an iPad is literally my idea of living hell. And Final Cut Pro, I have to say, have you ever used any kind of editing, visual editing stuff on a touch surface?
Yep.
And do you enjoy it?
No.
It's awful.
It really is.
But the thing is, I have exactly the same view on doing doors on touch surfaces because. I've used Cubasis and I'm like everyone else that got very excited when the iPad came out, and I bought one and obviously then bought every generation since. And every time I always think, I will use these synths and these doors and these and every single time I don't use any of them because you play with them. Do you know when the woman turned around and went, it'd be great to use on a plane? Yeah, that's great, but that's the same way as going, it'll be great to play on my Nintendo Switch on a plane. It's great to use it when you've got nothing else that you can do.
Yeah.
Then it's great. And the idea when they're turning around and going, when you're on a shoot, you could check something out and find a Cut Pro. That I have no problem with whatsoever. All of that I get completely. It's when they're trying to sell it as this is a complete solution and you don't need a DAW. You can now just do Logic on an iPad. If you want to write the kind of crap that we're showing, when they're showing that people turning around and going, hey, I've got a full studio now, and they're writing something that's basically a beat and a bass line, great. Knock yourself out. If you want to write that crap, that's fine. You can do all that on an iPad. If you want to do anything of any worth, the iPad is not really made for it, and to then pay on top of that to pay a subscription for it. And you're right. I mean, $4.99. What is $4.99? I know there's that age-old thing, and now it's a Starbucks. That's that's what it is. It's a Starbucks. It's one cup of tea a month, and I get that completely. So but it's still, I just object to the fact that you're tied into it, and oh God, I just can't be asked.
So, young Kent, where are you with that? Because I know you love subscriptions as well. You're a really big fan.
I'm a massive fan of subscriptions, in much the same way I am a massive fan of trying to eviscerate myself with a lawnmower. So, yeah, to repeat what Ty was saying, $4.99, big whoop. It's not a nasty kind of subscription, but like him, the amount of times I've gone, I can do this with the iPad, I can do that with the iPad, and I never bloody do. And but if you want to put Dominus onto an iPad, forget it. The only way you can do that is if you put the CDs on top of the iPad. That's about it. That's as close as you fucking get into it. So there always feels like there's a cut down when you use something on the iPad over using it on your desktop or whatever. So, yeah, it's.
I mean, my problem with it, my biggest problem more than anything else, is that if this is the way, what I worry about is this is the way it's going to go, and I just every time one of the other big companies come up with subscription, you do just think, oh my God, it's not long before literally everything, and I kind of mean everything, is going to go subscription, because now that Logic do, what happens when Cubase does or Nuendo does. And it's just I hate.
So, yeah, but that's why if you look behind you, young Ty, you'll notice that there's a modicum of hardware, which means you don't have to pay any freaking subscription at all. But you do have to pay the maintenance and the electricity bills for it. But a lot of people are moving back to this kind of kit. You can't see it here, but to hardware, quite aside from anything else, just because you actually have hands-on. And you're not tied to anything. It's yours for as long as you have it. You power it on. You do what you want to. But I mean, just so you know, when I was quite a fan of Cakewalk and Sonar for a good while. I used it quite a bit. I liked it as an interface. It was a very clear signal path through from conception through to something coming out the speakers, right? And they made it so it was touch sensitive. You could use a tablet. And I happen to have some very big tablets or touch sensitive screens. And I looked at the Raven and the Slate and everything else. I thought, well, I can do that. And I did. I actually set it up with an entire control surface because I come from the big console days. I like big consoles. And I thought, at last, I've got my it slipped off. I can't quite. I've got to look at what everything. There's no touch. There's no touch. Mm-hmm. However, that to one, I'm an old git. I know that a lot of people that I know, some of whom are very good musicians, very fine musicians, are looking at this and thinking, you know what, I can use this to do some sketches for my whatever upcoming concert or album. And I can use it as a controller, but I've never had that much success with them as controllers.
I haven't. I mean, I've got them here. I've got 3 in here, all set up for controllers, and I can't even try to explain how little they're used. Because it's always that it's all great in theory, but they're just not. And what you're saying about the hands-on thing, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I bought a Raven. Kent bought a Raven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I looked at getting the big one. Do you remember the big one? And I almost bought that. And the deal I had was basically because the big ones, for whatever reason, they weren't available. And so I bought the Raven, the 20, is it 21 or 23, whichever, is it 23 inch?
27.
Whichever it was. I bought the Raven.
Yeah.
And the deal was that when the big ones came into stock, I would be able to they would give me the same that I paid for my Raven back against the big one. And by the time the big ones did come back in stock, I absolutely come to the conclusion that trying to mix on a touch interface like that and do it with any kind of sensitivity it just doesn't work. It's just impossible.
No, you need that tactility. You need tactility for that.
Yeah, completely.
So I'm sure there will be a market. I'm sure there are people that will use it, and I'm sure there'll be an audience for it. I think what we're saying is, at the moment, for people who are marginally over 35, like ourselves, just a tad, possibly not.
I just worry about where it's going. That's all. I want the whole subscription thing to but it's only going to get bigger and bigger, and I just want it to get smaller and smaller. But there we go.
You don't want AI either, I'm sure.
Oh my God, don't even start me off on AI. Honestly, don't even.
Oh, well, we've got some more things to cover today. We've got some more things to cover. AI is something we can damn next week.
Well, I'm doing one more, and then I'm disappearing. So
go on.
Well, no, I'm just saying I'm doing one more with you, and then I'm off. So choose whichever one you want.
Okay, so how about what do we think about the AJH Synth mini mod keys? Have you seen any of that? It's right at the bottom of the list there, young Kent.
Right.
If you click on that link, it should take you straight to a good bit.
This puppy, yeah.
There we go.
Wish I could find it up the top though. Oh, here we go.
So.
Okay, let's run this up then.
The basic AJH Synth mini-mod voice is now available as a complete system incorporated into a Nifty Keys Eurorack case and controller, along with a couple of additional and incredibly useful modules. This complete system provides the equivalent of a mini-moog, but in a Eurorack modular format. In addition to housing 112 HP of modules, the controller also features an arpeggiator with various different modes, a built-in LFO, pitch bend and modulation wheels, basic polyphonic control of up to 4 voices, and a range of additional settings that can be turned on and off in conjunction with the function button. For our own exclusive package of the Nifty Keys, we added custom American black walnut end cheeks, which are significantly thicker and give the complete system a bit more of a vintage look. In addition to the classic configuration of 3 VCOs and transistor ladder filter, the system also comes with the Ring SM, which is a 5-channel Moog CP3 style mixer featuring a 3-input ring modulator and 2 sub-bass generators. And finally, the tap tempo voltage controlled LFO, which is a very complex modulation source where every function can be controlled by an external CV. Here are some sounds created with just this system on its own.
Do you love classical music? Well, if you do, now listen to your favorite songs and music
so realistic.
to a radio station. It's called
Alma,
and it's a unique platform just for classical music.
You can skip ads. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
There we go.
Wow.
So
the big question is how much?
And that whole package is $2,799. It's for 4 voices. It does go on to some other sounds there, which are truly, kind of mind-bendingly rather wonderful and gorgeous. And of course, it's Andy's sort of way of building things that always gets people's attention. I love it. It's just that little bit too much, but I love the sound of it. But then I look at it and I think, well, then there's the Maxi Brute. So I'm kind of puzzled. I want to in fact, I do like it, but I can get a Maxi Brute which does pretty much all of that and some. I think I might be wrong. What are your thoughts?
Well, for me personally, the fact that I've seen that over the fact that I didn't even know it. I honestly didn't even know the details of it. I didn't know the price of it. It's because I've seen it as I'm scouring the the sites, reporting about Superbooth, and I've just looked at it and gone, no, not for me. And that basically sums it up. I just think that it just seems like a lot of money for. Personally, again, it's desirability. Again, we'll come back to that. Do I have any desire to buy a pre-constructed Eurorack? Because that's essentially what it is. It's just it's like one of the Erica synths. It's like but in another company's keyboard body. And fair enough, they've put. I have to say the wood on the side did look beautiful, but I've not heard the best of things about that particular Eurorack keyboard in terms of quality of action. I know someone that didn't buy one but played on one and just said, yeah, they didn't think a lot of it. But that's all I've known. No. So I don't know. So is it a desirable thing to buy someone else's keyboard stacked with your modules that gives it a form, a complete instrument? I don't see any desirability personally in that. Not for that kind of money. Again, it's just everyone's different. Everybody's different, but for me,
the funny thing is, you talk about desirability because the Maxi Brute, that's one of those ones that as soon as I saw it, I went, you know what? I really like the look of this, and I wasn't quite sure, but I was really drawn to it.
Do you mean when you say the Maxi Brute? Do you mean the Matrix Brute? Am I getting confused?
The Matrix. Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. No, it's fine. I'm just thinking I've missed an entire synth here that there's no knowledge of.
I'm old and smelly.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay,
but at least I have hair.
Yeah.
So,
on your head anyway.
This is actually a terrier.
Yes.
I'm yes.
Yeah.
Challenged.
Yeah, but again, you're right though. A Matrix Brute is a desirable thing. That's I can understand that. It's an instrument that's desirable and you want. Whereas I just don't get that same thing from this at all, personally.
Ken?
Well, it gave the impression that it was based on a Mini. It certainly had the features thereof of a Mini with a bit more, but it didn't have the sound of one. So
no.
Yeah, but
what?
No, I was only going to say. I have to say the stuff I've actually heard from them as a company, from their kind of, because they did another Mini Moog kind of thing, didn't they? And it sounds great. I heard some great sounds from it, and it didn't sound particularly Mini Moogish, but it still sounded great. I haven't heard this. I'm on about the last time they packaged something into a kind of mini. It is AGH. They did something as a kind of Mini Moogish kind of thing, did they not? Or I know I saw somewhere where
like it, yeah.
they'd arranged they put all the components in from a Mini Moog into something. And it sounded great, not particularly like a Moog, but sounded really good.
Yeah.
But
so and the reason I've deliberately brought this up is because from Andy again from AJH, there's this at 2,799, but he's done a collaboration with the rather wonderful Ian Boddy, who's rather well known in electronic music and has been doing his thing since the 70s. And has his own labels, the DIN label, etc. And he's got the Tone Science series there as part of the library music and the artists that he releases on. And in collaboration with AJH, they've built something called the Triple Cross, which is a rather wonderful module, if you like that kind of thing, that just, it's one of those ones you look at it and go, what? I don't get it. And then you see someone playing with it, you go, oh, I've got to have that in my life if I had a modular.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it? And it's only $260.
No, I haven't seen it.
Young Kent, would you care to?
I will care to.
There, you can make a buying decision based on that.
The the Triple Cross is a voltage-controlled crossfader and panning module. It's a collaboration between Tone Science and AJH Synth. This 14 HP Eurorack module has 3 channels which can each be used for either crossfading or panning, or a combination of both. Also, one of the outputs of both channels 1 and 2 are normal to the inputs of channel 3, meaning that channel 3 can be used as a master, by which to either crossfade between the outputs of the previous 2 channels, or to pan them left and right in stereo. Channel 3 also has its own attenuators for its 2 inputs, either controlling the levels coming from channels 1 and 2, or of any external audio or control voltages. The module is DC coupled, so it can be used to crossfade or pan between audio or control voltages. As an added bonus, this module could also be used as a triple VCA. To use a single channel as a crossfader, 2 signals will be connected to the A and B inputs. In a fade pot, crossfade between the 2 signals.
It's the enthusiasm in his voice that I most like in this. And if you were to rush forward, a couple of centuries on this video, you will find some.
And 1B.
And
using both L1
still more
normal to inputs 3A and 3B. Then each of these 2 inputs have their own attenuator.
God, it's not that interesting. The module. Move on.
Welcome to Open University 1979.
Yeah. And used to mix the output of 2 different LFOs. The first one is a very standard triangle.
Oh, hello.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is...
Should we kill it there?
Yeah, all I'm going to say is, genuinely, if Ian Body's had anything to do with it, it's going to be great. I have to say, I'm not looking at that and getting even slightly bit tingly and at all. But yeah, I'm not getting tingly. But if Ian Body's had anything to do with it, it'll be great. And I think as a pairing, it sounds. I mean, I've got a modular, and believe me, there's not a bone in my body going, oh, I must have that. I'm sure it's fantastic quality. I'm sure it'll be wonderful, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who are getting their rocks off about it at the moment. But for me personally, not doing it for me. But there we go. But I'm sure it's great, because Ian is an incredibly talented guy, and if he has anything to do with anything, it's going to be good. So.
Ian is one of those rare people, however, that turns the maths and the science of audio and sound into something beautifully creative, wonderfully creative. His brain is wired in a particular way, and I think you need to be that to be able to use something like that and go, I have to have that in my life.
Yeah,
I think it looks an amazingly wonderfully accomplished piece of technical wizardry, but I can't quite see it appearing in my life either at the moment. Young Kent.
Before you go to Kent, I'm going to have to go. I'm really sorry, because I do have to disappear. And by the way, everyone, I've just seen it in the chat room, it was the tempura. Tempura is the thing that, have a look at that while I'm gone, which is the granular thing, which is with the touchpad. It's beautiful, and it's definitely going on my shopping list because it looks amazing. It looks really good.
That's the one we saw. Yeah, okay. Go
no,
away.
It's the one with the touchpads. It's the chat room will talk you through it. It's the same people that did the Vector Synth. It's them, and it looks great. But I've got to disappear. I'm so sorry. And thank you for having me. And
don't remember that bit, but sure.
Okay, on that bombshell. Okay, bye.
I love you.
Love
bye.
you.
Here's my
love
glove.
you.
My
Bye.
glove is saying goodbye. Goodbye. The glove says. Oh,
and so it passes.
And so it passes. Yes. So that was. I mean, it is interesting, isn't it? How something that's got all the, it's got all the hallmarks and the pedigree and the technologically, the technology placed in such a way that it should be an absolute, I've got to have that dribbling must have in my life, but somehow it just fails to do that, doesn't it?
Yeah, but see, this falls into the category of the people who like to do the kitten tickling.
Kitten tickling.
Yeah, it's very small to tickle the kitten, which Eurorack, invariably brings anyway. But the real problem is I've been working on a Prophet 5 Rev 2 all day, and I just hate all gear at the moment.
The perfect host. For
yeah,
PSN.
yeah. It goes everything's shit. Okay, and yeah, it's not for me. It sounds really nice and everything else, but it's.
I'll tell you what my problem with it's not even a problem. If someone gave me one, I'd be delighted, and I'd probably let out several whoops. However, it's being sold as a mini mod key, so it's being sold as something which is a mini Moog in a Eurorack format, which you can replug and do stuff with. But it's not, because the mini Moog is you start from the left, go to the right. You have very few patching points.
Yeah.
It just works from left to right. With that, I can see that you have to pre-patch some stuff already. And I'm for 2,799. Really, I'm not. I can't quite. I'd spend all my time thinking about it and trying to stop patch cords from getting noisy and using switch cleaner and God knows what else.
Well, it could be very useful to people who are coming into Euro, fresh and new, and they're presented with this wealth of choice that's out there, and to have something that's sort of like ready conceived for them to play.
And I'm assuming. I mean, I've not looked too hard, but I'm assuming you'd be able to swap out those modules because it's a Eurorack thing and put your own in. But then at that point, why? What is it? If you start swapping it out, then it's not it's just another keyboard. And there's another. What's the other company that makes the keyboards and Eurorack thing? You can just swap stuff out.
God, yeah, there was one, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's it's kind of.
I mean, it's not a new idea. It's not a new concept at all to do that. But
I'm just wondering.
It looks nice, and it's tidy and it's all one colour and all the rest of it. So it looks like a well presented system.
It does. It does. So I suppose we ought to move on a little then, because we don't think that taken with that. So I'll tell you what we do have. We can speculate. It's speculation time.
Okay.
It's time to speculate a little, which doesn't mean no. So Cherry Audio, those wonderful people that are on PSN from time to time, that they've been great friends to PSN, and they've released some wonderful, wonderful stuff. Not most recently the wonderful Mercury.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got the 2600, they've got the Quadra, they've got the Taurus, essentially the Taurus based in. They've been releasing some really, really good plugs, and they're always good fun and fantastic value. Now, there is a rumor circulating somewhere.
Oh, is there now?
There is. That they are going to, on May the 16th, which is just 3 days before a certain very important birthday for someone else, they're going to be releasing a new plugin. And I can't for the life of me imagine what it might be like. Could you play something and give us a little teaser, do you think, young Ken?
God, I think so.
Marvellous.
Absolutely.
And that's it. That's the teaser.
Indeed, sir.
So, what the devil could it be?
Could it possibly be a Martineau, perhaps?
A Martineau?
Yeah.
Isn't that a small monkey that lives in Gibraltar? Oh no, that's That's not Marmoset, and that lives in Sri Lanka, I think.
It was something like that, or it was a shop owner.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
But be cool. Be cool.
It would be very, very cool. There's been quite a lot of videos of late of these very mad sort of 50s, 30s, 40s, 50s things. Now, wasn't there a Hammond something as well? Was it Hammond that did something back in the 30s, or am I going completely barking? It had a bunch of different oscillatory things and as well as the martello that was used to do a lot of scoring of movies.
Yes.
So it's played. Do you know what? I should have looked this up, but I only had a year to research. So what do we think it could be? Do we think it could be that? And if it is, what are they going to do with this?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's any need for 40s horror film scores to come back, but you never know.
It's not the scores. I think it's the way it was played, the way it worked, and the way it played. That's what you call an uncomfortable silence, right?
It is.
and that's preset 14 from the horror. Yeah, I'm just wondering. It's got me puzzled because I'm not sure how far you can go down that path. Is anyone on the chat room saying anything that might?
They're saying get off.
Well, yeah, I imagine they are. I was thinking. So Sonny Link was thinking Wurlitzer. Could be. Theremin, Wurlitzer.
Yeah.
But there is that particular sound. Should we try and find out what that might have been?
Yeah.
Or shall we just...
Yeah. I was kind of hoping it is a Martinol, if possible. It's the John Cage 4 minutes 33 preset. Yeah, I got a Profit 5 with that preset on it.
Yondes Maintenant. Do you know what? I think that must be what it is. Do we have a video? We do. Oh God, we have a 14-minute Cynthia Miller guide to the Ondas Maintenant.
There you go.
Right. Shall we try and should we see if we can get this up?
Go on, you try at your end. As I said to the missus the other day.
Yes, I got into trouble. I done.
Go on Google, look up skirts.
About that next week.
Yeah.
Let's see what we've got. So if we stop that there. Oh God, this is on Bing. And I'm not sure. Let me just try this a minute. Right, here we go. So we're on Bing. We need to unmute Bing. Bing. There it is. Right, let's see if I can. Yes, I can. Right, so if we share this, you see, this is we're so well rehearsed here. I'm sure none of you want to see Robbie back because he's just amateur.
To be honest with you, I was surprised I found the studio tonight.
I have no idea what I'm doing here. Right. Share screen. That's a good idea. Share a selector, tab, select a window. There we go.
Both selector.
And I'm going to share it.
Here we go.
I just hope it plays. Let me know if there's no sound.
Doesn't sound very loud.
Are you getting that, young Kent?
Let me try it this end.
You leave my end out of it.
That ain't it.
Right. So for some reason it is not sharing. I need to just work out how to do the share with sound. Share to tab audio. Don't think it's allowing me to.
Yeah. Excellent.
Share system audio. Here we go.
I'll go for
now
it.
We've got it. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's try this again. Are you getting that, Kent?
Yeah, I'm getting it this end.
So let's see what happens if we take this forward a little. More of the same.
Pick your nose.
So that was an extract from the third and the last movement of Messiaen's Trois Petites Liturgies. It was a piece that he wrote in 1943, and it was actually the first time that he used the Onde Martineau, which I shall describe to you, in a context with other orchestral instruments. And he experimented in ways which he would later develop in the bigger piece, the Turangalila Symphony.
And what we do know is a lot of that, what Messiaen was doing and others, but Messiaen particularly, did bleed into the whole Hollywood thing, didn't it?
Yeah.
So if we perhaps go a little, do we want to see more of what she's doing here?
Yeah,
let's see.
Touch controls and stuff.
Really nothing, and can become very loud indeed. And all the attacks and all the dynamic and all the things which breath or a bow would do are done with the left hand. Without the left hand, the keyboard doesn't sound at all. So also my left hand is controlling the timbre, the sounds, and also the three different speakers that I've got here. There's a principal speaker, which is the sound you've mostly been hearing. There's a little spring resonance, yes, there, which if I used it alone, will just continue to ring. There, the springs in there, I can lengthen or shorten them so that the
this is brilliant.
ring is longer or shorter. But obviously, once the sound sets up, I can't shut it off as I would do if it was an electronic resonance.
Okay, so I can see how that panel, the one just here, I can see how you can echo that using pitch bend or modulation wheels or some such to actually instance what you're getting there. And the thing that made the Martineau really quite spectacularly unique was the fact you wore this ring and slid it up and down. Quite how they're going to do that, I don't know. But I think this, a resonator cabinet for that style of reverb, which is actually rather lovely. This looks like a bonkers thing. What do we think? Shall I just come out from here for a moment?
Okay.
Let's do that. So what do we think? Because that's quite a, we've been talking a lot about articulation, about performance. That looks like something that's, so far ahead of where we were up until a very few years ago.
Yeah.
What do you think? Would you like something like that? Again, but it's as a plug-in rather than as the real thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what form of controller would be useful in recreating that.
Well, a ribbon controller. If
Yeah.
you happen to have one, but if you don't.
Yeah. Well, you could probably set something up where you could actually recreate that. But it's kind of the original expressive instrument that wasn't a conventional instrument.
An electronic instrument.
Yeah. So, because if you go back far enough, so some mechanical keyboards were called synthesizers. So. But I think one of them weighed, 192 tons.
What?
Yeah, 1894. So I can't remember the name of this thing, but it was an enormous machine, and it was a synthesizer. So, yeah, although they probably didn't name it as that, it wasn't categorized as that at the time. It was just sort of like, this bloke's mental. You want to see what he's building, kind of thing. But yeah, Joey. So But yeah, I mean, this was an instrument that looked like it was going somewhere, and then didn't.
The Martinon.
Yeah, it really looked like it was going somewhere, and then it kind of. I think people found it to be complicated, or they didn't like it done one sound really, and it was just filtered differently. It was a different preset sort of thing.
Do you think there was a degree of snobbishness about that from keyboard players, from pianists perhaps, or whatever, or what? Because it does have a very unique, unmistakable sound, and is it because of that it doesn't really go any further?
Yeah, it could be. It could be just that it got categorized into it does science fiction B movies, and it couldn't dig itself out of that. I mean, initially, there was it was being used aggressively in a classical environment, but it just fell by the wayside.
Have you ever had one through the workshop?
I had one. Oh God, quite a few years ago. The one thing I remember about it was they have these two little, they look like little nails that just protrude from the front of the keyboard that the wire went on. That you could that's what you ran the ring on. And it tore a dirty great big lump out of my elbow when I was trying to repair it. So that's all I really remember about it. It tried to maim me. So that's all I remember about it. And yeah, but it could cut cheese like you wouldn't believe. It's brilliant, and it's it was an interesting piece of equipment, but it was very expressive. It was, although technically monophonic. I mean, it was not, but it was knocking the 80 into a cocked hat in terms of expression per note.
Per note.
Yeah.
I wonder if a polyphonic version of that now would. I mean, I suppose that's really what things like the Roley and whatever are, aren't they? They've got an entire synth engine.
Yes, in a roundabout kind of way. Yeah, I think there's obviously. I think you'd probably be closer to Osmos. Has got that kind of feel to it, except the Osmos hasn't got anywhere near the amount of controls that you have on the left-hand side. But the thing about that was because it was monophonic, this hand was free to do all the fiddling and doing all the portamentos and all those different things and controlling volume and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was an interesting. I think it should be interesting to come back as a VSTI and then mess with it and then see what you can come up with. But you're going to be tempted to just do 50s B movies, This Island Earth or Forbidden Planet. But that's not a bad thing,
It's not a bad thing, but it's a very limited thing. However, then you look at something like the Moog, with the Emerson's Moog, the 55 he had, and he had the keyboard with ribbon, with pitch. He had a whole bunch of stuff, which is essentially, and then the Mini Moog, and then the 2600, which is a handful of knobs to change sound, which you do with this hand whilst you're playing with this, or whichever way round you like it.
Yeah,
it's that was kind of how are people steering away from doing that, from real-time control, or do they want it under their fingertips, as it were?
Well, you see, there's this dichotomy, isn't there, between if you're playing a mono synth, it's good to have loads of controls because you're playing a mono synth. You've got a hand free. Once polyphony became more prevalent, and you had polyphonic things that had controls, but it's polyphonic. You're using both hands. It's not so easy to, mess with the controls like you used to, that you could over a mono synth and stuff like that. So it's only now we're getting into the stage where you have the controls by using the keyboard to get the additional controls that you would have had to mess with on the front panel. So.
And I suppose things like the I'm just trying to think now, there was the GX1, which had that weird leg controller, didn't it, that you could use to do stuff. And I remember the Polymoog when it came out, lots of people didn't like it, but with the pedal boards, the big pedal board underneath, you actually got a huge amount of control from it.
Yeah.
And the same with the 80. The 80 had a whole bunch of of. Am I still right in thinking there was a switch for foot pedals somewhere on the left-hand side of the 80 keyboard that if you switched it on and you didn't have the pedals plugged in, or you had them plugged in weirdly, it would just blow a whole bunch of circuitry.
So if you plug the expression pedal and the switch pedal into the wrong sockets, it would blow the PRA board up. But
That's right.
There's two grey switches on the 80. Just see them there. One's wired up, and the other one isn't wired to anything on any CS80 on the planet. It was a feature they sort of like didn't get around to. So in the schematics, it shows that second switch with just a cross through it, going no, fuck off. But
they built it because it was there.
Yeah, it's sort of like the sequencer buttons on a Waldorf Wave.
Aha!
But there's no sequencer.
There's no sequencer. So Cherry Audio, do we think? What about in the chat room? Do they think that there is an Ondes Martino? And what would it be called? Because we're not going to find out until Tuesday, are we?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we know it's going to be very, very keenly priced.
Yep.
Oh, at that sort of price, we go, yeah, go on then. I'll have it anyway. You never know. It's one of them. It's definitely one of them.
It is.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see. I mean, well, I'm sure it will do, but if you had that control, if they've worked out a way to both create the sound and then use those controllers to control other synth engines using CCs, that could be an interesting thingy.
Yeah. Well, exactly. But I mean, the other thing, of course, is that the Martinol was not exactly. It wasn't difficult to play. You could sit down in front of one and start playing it immediately, to some degree, straight away, as opposed to the theremin.
Yeah, which was a colossal pain in the bum.
Yeah, and I mean, although you've got your volume, when you're doing the thing with your fingers, I mean, you look like you're pleasuring a budgerigood, really, don't you? with this hand. And and it's sort of like trying to calm down a dog with the other one at the same time. It's really weird, and it's really hard to. It's like playing a penny whistle. It's really hard to find the exact note you want. And whereas the Martinol was you pushed keys, and you're on, you're off. No problem. So yeah, I think it'll be good. It'll probably be a few 29, 39, 49 quid, something like that. And
something like that. And if it is, I'm sure it's something which we'll hopefully have on the show next week to have a look at, if that's possible. It would be a lovely thing. We'd love to get them back, and if they're bringing out anything new, they always do us they do us a good thing by coming on and introducing it, which is great. So we're moving on. The clock is ticking away. There's a couple more things to talk about before we run out, and we have to start talking about pleasuring pets in one hand and the other. So
we've
done that. We've
done that.
Yeah,
we've covered that.
Off the list. Pleasuring pets.
Dog Whisperer's got nothing on us, mate.
Dog Whisperer, yeah, that's the one. So here's a one. In this week, we have heard that a rather famous, very famous, best-selling synth, statistically, in the last few years or ever, apparently, the Korg Micro Korg. They're releasing a 20th anniversary edition of the classic, and it's see-through. That's the thing. Shall we have a look? Do you want to press that link and see if we can?
Let's see if we can get that. Let me see if I can get that to work.
Yeah.
See what sort of abomination we have here.
What sort of an abomination?
Ow! Stop that.
And that's one of the samples. That's one of the anniversary samples you just heard there.
Right, I should be able to add this now.
Here we go. Well, I think that's certainly a synthesizer, and there we go. So it's their 20th anniversary. I mean, it's been around for a very long time. It was sort of affordable for what it was when it came out. It's now in a transparent case. I don't see any new features. I think it's still 4-voice. Is that right? And it's 570 quid. And you get to see the innards. I mean, you know, the microcorg has been used a lot. What do we think about this little see-through sonic thing?
Not for that money.
You want it, I know. You just
Oh,
want it.
do you know what? That was quite a resonanty, squeaky demo. It's not my bag. It's not my bag at all. You know. But no, it just seems a little pricey for that.
Well, I'm just wondering how much. It's not moved on. I mean, it was when it was first released, which was what, 20,000. Well, it must have been 2003, if it's the 20th anniversary. It's moved a little bit on, but it's a halfway decent thing. But it's 4 voices, I think. It's got a vocoder, and it's got some effects and things built in. It's got a few controllers on it. You can access it and do a little bit of programming, etc. However, at 570 quid, you then have. Would you care to press the next thing down on that list? Before we announce what it is, you can get this instead.
What's that?
I don't want to give it away, but it's the Arturia Micro Freak Stella. So it's entire. We're not going to reveal that until we've shown the video, because it would spoil it for everyone.
Oh, that's gone.
That's it. We've just rocked this. Let me see if I can
Let me see if I can call that up again. Oh God! Oh, why is everything in code?
I've no idea. Would you like me to try and run it from here?
Oh, shut up! Bloody videos. Yeah, see if we can call it up, because it has left us here.
Okay.
I will sing a quick song while you're doing that.
I've just got to remember how to run this again. So I go to present. There we go.
Yeah.
Now we're rocking. Now we're cooking with gas. So screen 2. And you'll never guess what I'm about to show here, folks. You'll never get, not from. I'm even going to share the system audio. Here we go. And there it is. Let's go.
There it is.
So, folks, we have the Arturia Micro Freak Stella, the new version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I can possibly stop this video from playing. Thank you so much. So, the Arturia Micro Freak Stella, the Micro Freak is an amazing piece of kit. It's a really wonderful piece of kit. It looks rather lovely.
Mm.
It's £329.
Mm-hmm.
It's a special edition. So, given that the Micro Korg Crystal See-Through 20th Anniversary Edition is 570 and the Arturia Micro Freak Stella is 329, is that a difficult choice to make? Is it a choice? Would you buy? What do you think of the Micro Freak?
Yeah, I've never had one. Well, a few things I've never had.
Really?
Yeah, that's a bold statement, isn't it?
I've got dozens. No, I haven't. I haven't got one either.
No, I haven't got one.
But everything I'm hearing, so Robbie's been schmongling on about them for a while, as have many others. They're getting a lot of really good attention. They do sound amazing. They've got a lot more controls on them than does the Micro Korg. At 329 quid, it's a bit of a steal. And if you're talking, we were talking earlier about the whole idea of portable, small form factor stuff. There's also, by the way, the new Roland micro little thingy, which is an an SH101 in a teeny weeny little pack that you can play. There's a lot more. There's a lot more out there that seems to be a better deal to get, and that has more to offer than does the Micro Korg, which I think, as soon as you start putting things in transparent cases, you think, well, yeah, they've had their day, haven't they? Really?
Yeah. I mean, who wants to see Ed Synth's drawers anyway? I must admit, from the sounds that I've heard Robbie play on his one, it is nice sounding. I must admit.
It's a lot of sound for a very little money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of sound for very little money. So we think the Arturia Micro Freak. Are we seeing it? Is anyone saying anything about this on the chat? Are they saying it's a wonderful thing that you absolutely must have, or are they saying, for God's sakes, let us go and have our dinner? What are they saying? What do we think? I'm not seeing anything at all at the moment. Oh, there we go. There's the chat.
Mm.
I didn't dig the keyboard on the first Freaks, but killer sounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Roland S1 features and price is slam dunk. So how much? Yeah, we're seeing a lot of chat on the in the Twitter sphere. So what do we know what price the S1 is? Someone's just said it's a slam dunk. Cresshead, Roland S1. Who wants to talk about a 25-year-old VA, says Wagyu.
Not Wagyu, apparently.
Yeah. 179 quid for the S1.
Mm.
That is a steal.
Yeah.
So they're kind of going up against. That sounds like they're going up against a certain company, beginning with a B, who are trying to steal all this stuff and put it out cheap, and they're going up against them and going, we can do this smaller, better, faster. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting gambit.
Yeah. Well, it seems to be a very volatile end of the market, I must admit.
It does.
There's
plenty
of call for stuff down there, and
so we seem to have covered a lot of either very expensive or very cheap, and or very simple or very, very complex throughout the show today. What's your favourite one out of the show we've seen today? What's your favourite thingy that you've seen so far?
Gemini?
Yeah, it's got to be, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm really liking that.
And given the choice between the Gemini and the Hydra?
No, there's room for both. There's room for both. They really do not sit on each other's coattails.
And the Osmos?
I'll let you know when I get one.
You've got your order in, haven't you?
Oh, Jesus Christ! I think Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth when I ordered it. I think mine's pushed back to June.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It was supposed to be this month now, but this month is here now. It's not going to be this month. It's going to be next month. And it'll probably carry on like that for a few more months yet. Who knows?
And in the same kind of area, not necessarily quite the same price, not just as expensive, but getting. Well, in fact, no, it is. It's in the same area. There's the mask, which Robbie, someone we know called Robbie, wrote a manual for it. Apparently, I don't know.
Did he?
I've heard rumor that might have been the case, but he's been very quiet about that.
Can you read a manual that's done in brown crayon? I mean, really?
It's done in fence bitumen.
Oh, right.
Is what it's been written in.
Yeah, well, you see, one of the things I like about the mask is that, as we were talking about this earlier, weren't we, about the 2-digit display?
Mm.
Yeah?
Indeed, we were.
Don't clutter it up with big displays all over the shop. So, that screams out quick usability to me.
And it's the funny thing about it when it was when we first saw it on here. I think it was a little lukewarm at first. We sort of saw it and went, meh.
Well, I've always had an inane fear of white synthesizers. I couldn't help it. It started with the Bit 99.
Oh God, yes, that was a piece of work. That was.
Yeah.
However, over the weeks and months since it was first announced, and someone we knew wrote a manual for it in dog poo, we've seen more and more of it, and I gotta say, I'm loving it more and more. There's been some more demos put up this week. There was a demo. I'm going to see if I can find it actually by someone. Where is it? The mask demo. Let me see if I can find it. You carry on talking amongst yourself, young Kent, about it.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, Fiona mentioned something about the S1 to me. I think it was yesterday. So she goes, "Oh, that looks quite good. I like that." So it appeals to the non-synthesizer person, apparently, which is a good thing. I would have thought.
I'm typing mask synth and I'm getting Kodamo mask 1. There we go. Let's just see if we can't find the particular demo we're looking for. Yeah, you keep talking among yourselves. One of the things that was interesting, however, about it is that Ammo. There we go. Kodamo mask 1. One of the things that was really interesting, or is really interesting, is that the simplicity of it. There's not a huge number of parameters, but that belies just how ridiculously powerful a simple OS or a well thought out operating system and or set of controls can be, because I'm hearing stuff from it that's just mad. What are you thinking?
I'm beginning to really warm to keyboards that have, a relatively empty surface of controls. It's because I just want ease of use now because I'm getting old. And I was sort of like, I can't be bothered anymore.
Yeah.
So it appeals. I don't know what. I love the sound of it as well. See, which is, as you know, one of the important things that tends to get overlooked over sometimes. So.
Okay, so what I've got here, if I can get the thing up, I'm just going to try and skip the doofer. What we've got here is a demo by Jean-Philippe Riquiel.
Okay.
And
he'll forgive you for that.
Yeah, I know. And so you should. I'm going to try and bring it up and present it. He is interacting with it. I think he has visual. He's visually impaired, so he's having to just do it by touch. and just find his way around it. And he's just finding whatever patch comes up and then doing something with it. And he just does a very short demo of each patch, completely impromptu. So I'm going to share the system audio, and yeah, have a look at this. This is rather a wonderful thing. Here we go. I hope.
And add it.
So I'm going to move this forward a little. And on it goes, and on it goes. So we've got, look at this. This is rather lovely. So we'll post the link to this. It goes on for a long time, for about 24 minutes, and he goes through gazillions of different patches, and he's just feeling them as they come along and just improvising as he goes. It's an extraordinary thing, and I think that's probably it's just stimulated me even more to want to own one of those. It just looks like it's a wonderfully playable, expressive beastie that you just want to get dug into.
Yeah, it's really making me want to get one.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, no, I'm all right. I got me Rolly, I got me Hydra, I got me this, I got me that, blah, blah. But listen to it and you go, yeah, do you know what? It's very, very sweet sounding.
And it doesn't look like I think with others, the Rolly, the Osmos, there's there are a different way of playing. You have to learn to play parts, and I mean the Osmos is probably the simplest of all of them, but it's a wonderful beastie. But there is a certain adjustment to your playing style in that. This isn't even poly aftertouch, but it's a standard keyboard, but it just, the way they've mapped this out and what they've done with the play modes, the keyboard modes, it's astonishing.
Yeah, but I mean, the levels on that first sound that he was using, normally because that's the Clio sound. It's now sometimes the cat meow sound can get on your nerves very quickly, but he was able to keep that sound changing enough that he never got to that point. And it was really showing off the actual levels of control that were. It's a very subtle keyboard.
It is. I love the whole monophonic legato thing that you get just by holding down things within a certain key range of each other.
But it was really coming through in that demo. I think they should have had him doing the launch of the mask, to be honest with you.
Well, you know what? I'm thinking the same. He goes through a whole bundle of different ones, including organ sounds and various others. And he's obviously a great player, and that's what you need, But the way he intuitively interacts with lots and lots of different patches, it's not seeking for particular ones. He's just going next, play, next, play.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And I just looking at it going, I think I've got to have that in my life. More so I think than almost anything else I've seen of late. I mean, apart from the Osmos colour,
Well, yeah, exactly. But I mean, you've got more chance of getting a mask in the next fortnight than you have an Osmos.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I mean, it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't expensive either, was it?
No.
If memory serves, which is useless, by the way.
I think it's about 1,700 or something. 18.
Yeah, you see, now that's not killer in terms when you compare it to some of the other monsters that are coming out. Even the Geminis, I'm going, yeah, the Gemini's nice, but that's nice and it's half the money.
Yeah.
But it is white.
It's white. Paint it. People that do custom.
I'll wrap it.
Yeah, wrap it. Do a wrap.
I'll wrap
on
it. Yeah, do a wrap on it, and then some wolfies. But it's like it's like with a lot of these, because you will have people who will buy synthesizers because it has wooden end cheeks. I mean, literally, they would buy a dog sheet if you put wooden end cheeks on it. They go, oh yeah, I like that. So, and there's something. It's very plain. It's logically laid out, and I like it.
It's
really
utilitarian. I do, and I didn't.
And I like it even more now that you showed me that video of Matey Boy playing it. I like it even more because of that. It's even more nice.
I will send you the link,
Real
which
English,
you can then
by the way.
post up on the I'll
More
post it
nice.
up on the I'll post it up on the page. In fact, I'll post it up on the Pro Synth Network FUBA group, and you can take it from there. But I suppose we're now getting
another keyboard.
Yeah, I know.
I have to work all weekend again.
So we're at just about the arse end of the show, which is a lovely way of saying the arse end of the show.
I thought we could smell something.
Yeah.
Okay.
The gloves enjoyed it enormously.
The gloves are off.
The glove. Yeah. So,
Hello, glove. Yeah.
So, what are you up to this weekend? Have you got any plans, Mr.
I'm
Spong?
working like a dog, sir.
Like a dog with end cheeks?
I've got to put a new lid on a GS1 because it's going. Next week.
It's going.
Bye-bye, GS1. Yep, it's all done.
So you're getting 3 rooms back?
Yeah, at least. I have a lot. What have I got? There's a Trident called Trident Mark 1. I've got to get done this weekend. And what was the other thing? There was several machines down there I've got to get sorted anyway. But
Are you going to do those?
All those
Sunday?
Moogs are gone now.
Tomorrow looks like it's going to be a nice day. Would you spend any time in the garden?
Oh God, yeah. I'll drag them. I'll do them out in the garden, no problem.
Good.
Yeah.
We want to see video of that.
Throw out a blankie.
Throw out a blanny.
Yeah.
Get
soldering iron,
Trident.
desoldering stations, oscilloscope. Happy as a picking shit, mate.
Good. I suggest doing it with at least half a bottle of of single malt inside of you? Because you always sold a better.
No.
Always sold a better with single malt inside of you. Always.
You'd be surprised.
I wouldn't, because I've been there.
Yeah, you put chips in back to front, and then you forget that you've done it, and then you forget which ones you did, and it's not good. It's not good. It's like wearing a watch.
Yeah.
I used to wear a watch, and one day you sort of like accidentally touched one of the mains tags with your watch on, and
bang.
Wow, yeah,
bang, bang, bang. Well, I think that puts us at the end of the show. We're just slightly over. So how about that?
Yeah.
Have you had the most wonderful time, Mr. Spong?
I have indeed. Middle of the show was difficult because I had an ocular migraine and couldn't see half the stuff that was going on.
Oh, you're joking?
Yeah, just like trying to make it out. Like, what's going on? Where's that page gone? But I'm just left with a slight pain behind the eye now, so I'm all right.
Well, halfway through the show, I replaced myself with a body double. Well, it was a body triple. It's the only way I could get one in that would fit. So there we go. Well, listen, you have a good weekend. And to all those PSNers out there, thank you very much for being part of it. Thank you for those of you that have contributed. I know there have been a few contributions, many of them at the beginning of the show. I can't see them directly at the moment because I'm just like that. I can't see all of it. But we made Robbie redundant. I don't think so. Robbie,
I'm just glad we got to this point without actually burning anything down.
Yeah. So listen, as Robbie would say, if you like the show, hit the like, hit the subscribe. It helps, generate revenue for the show, which keeps the whole thing rolling. Even if you don't like, pop it down there so they'll know not to have me.
If you hate it, still click like.
Yeah, click like. Exactly. If you really hate it, click
really
like
hate it, subscribe.
And get all of your friends to click like if you really hate it. That'll give us an idea.
Yeah.
More
haters, the better.
The more haters, the better. Kent is doing his normal. If you want a GX1, he's giving one away this weekend. So turn up with a
barbecue.
Yeah, barbecue. Yeah. And I think all in all, folks, thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with. Oh, look, $10 from you. Listen, much respect, much thanks. It does help. It does help keep the channel running, and for people that are good at this, which is Kent and Ben, and
Ian helps.
Some bloke who wrote a manual for something, Robbie.
Yeah.
Do join them next week. I'm sure they'd be delighted to see you. Thank you so much for coming and putting up with the drivel that you've heard for the last 2 hours. Apart from Ty, who was, of course, as wonderful as ever.
As articulate as ever. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like an articulated lorry. Mr. Kent Spong, you are a wonderful man. Thank you so much for running it all.
Oh, dude.
And actually starting it on time.
Yeah, and pushing the go live button.
Yeah. We did everything right this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robbie, watch out, mate. Thank you very much. Do you want to run those end titles, young Kent?
Yeah, I have to go and find them. So, in the meantime, there is a pub tomorrow.
There is a pub?
There is a pub tomorrow.
What time?
It is required. It will start at about 7 and it will run right through. So you see, people who don't want to watch Eurovision can watch this. Because it's the same in many ways, actually. Watch Eurovision instead. There'll be less nudity, which is it's just the way things are. But Fiona's going to be watching it for us, and she's voting for Australia regardless. So because
that's good to hear. That's good to hear. In fact, we're starting the pub right now, and there's just going to be a small hiatus between now and tomorrow night when we resume, because heavy drinking may be involved. I don't know.
Oh, I think the more drinking, the ruder the jokes get.
Yeah, and I've got some really rude ones. So
good man, we need them. We need them.
Yeah, I'll be in the pub.
Yeah. So,
are we ready?
Yeah, I think we are. I think I'm going to run it.
Thank you all. Thank you
Yep.
all, and have a great weekend.
Yeah, take care, and everybody look after yourselves, right? See you later.